I'll go stick a dinner on or something.
Yeah.
I want to. Before we start, we're going to use the word meta a lot here, so I thought we should probably give
Yeah.
a definition of what that is before we start throwing it out loads. But
Mhm.
basically, the meta is the state of play within a game. So the standard of which is the norm, I guess, is the word you'd use.
Yeah.
So what?
It's like the optimal way to play it at that time in the game.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So go on then. Do you want to basically go?
Set it up.
Yeah, go on.
Hearthstone, Blizzard in their infinite amazingness have decided to give Hearthstone a new way to play, which is the way that we've been playing Hearthstone for years is going to be called Wild Mode, where you can have any card you want, like you can at the moment. But they're also going to introduce, I believe it's normal or standard.
It's called standard.
Standard mode, where they have decided that a couple of the expansions they released, now you can't use those anymore.
As only
because-
the latest 3 expansions will be compatible. So each
Yeah.
year, as a new one comes out, they'll make a previous one redundant.
Yeah, which
So
to
it's,
me,
at the minute, it's
they're-
Naxxramas and Goblins versus Gnomes are the 2 that are going to
Yeah.
be pulled out of standard.
removed. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, to me, their reason, I'll say their reason behind it anyway. Their reason is because to do with the fact that the meta is quite set in its way at the moment. Like the current meta is there's if you're playing a certain class and a certain deck, then you should build your deck this way because it will work best.
Because each
because of
class
what's in
has basically a deck that you play.
that works better than any other deck.
Like if you have
Now,
a druid, you're gonna have the Force of Nature Savage Raw combo. It's just that's what you're gonna have, for example.
Yeah.
But go on.
So what they're saying is that by doing this, it will basically help change the meta, or there'll be two pools of cards because one pool will have less cards in it, so the meta for that pool will change.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion,
You're
it's
wrong.
bloody stupid and bloody pointless. Because the way TCGs work, all TCGs, trading card games work, is the meta changes whenever a new set of cards are introduced, or the current set of cards are modified, like nerfed or buffed. And that's what they've been doing the whole time we've had Hearthstone, and it's worked.
They've barely
Like-
nerfed anything though. When you look back on what
Oh,
cards have actually been nerfed, like I had a look at the list, in relativity to how many cards there actually are in the game, the list is really small. And that's a
true,
problem with
but
them. They
that's-
should have nerfed a lot more cards, and they've said that with this new
Well,
update, they're gonna nerf
yeah.
a shit ton of cards.
Right, okay.
That's one
I
of the things they've
understand.
said.
I get that, fine, but just doing that nerf on its own without bringing in this whole standard version would change the meta of the game. And that's why I don't understand splitting it as having any point to it. From the way I see it, and it is just my opinion, but it looks like they've always said that people don't play Hearthstone as much as they wish they'd play Hearthstone, because most people jump in on the rank ladder, get to 20
for
until
the
they've
card
earned
back, and then
the new
don't
card
play
back,
it
and
anymore.
then they don't play it again until the next month.
Yeah.
And
So
this just seems like an artificial thing that they've added in because standard and wild versions are both going to have their own ranked ladder.
yeah, and
So
I
it seems
would
like they're just-
presume that they would get their own rewards. They would get their own rewards
Their
at the
own
end.
card back.
Yeah, and inherently, there's nothing wrong with that. The only issue I have with it at all, is that once this thing happens, you can't buy packs for the redundant class expansions. So once GVG and Naxxramas taken out of what they're calling standard, you can't buy packs or buy that. You can only get those cards through crafting them. And that's the issue,
Yep.
I think. If you could still buy those card packs and you could still buy that expansion, I don't see any problem with it because it's just another way, another thing you can level up and spend a bit of time on. You can rank up both, get some extra stuff, fine. But the issue is that you now have to get your cards from crafting, and if you look at how many cards are in those 2 expansions, there's fucking shit tons of them. And granted, you don't want all of them, especially if you can only use them in one of the 2 modes. Arena, I should mention, arena mode and practice mode, and that and tavern brawls are unaffected. You can do what you like with them, but
I know it's a completely cynical view, but that makes it sound to me like they're gonna make people do a mad dash to buy packs before they disappear.
You think?
To force you. Yeah, it sounds like they're adding in an artificial rarity. They've got no. I don't see what their reason would be for
quickly trying to get
Doctor
Dr. Boom before it's too late to get it, sort of thing.
Exactly.
See, I think there's nothing wrong with them adding this new mode. Like, I'm completely fine with them having it like a new mode where they say you can only use these certain expansions are the only ones that are going to work here. So you have to make new decks that work, work in this mode and whatever. But the problem, I think, first of all, the wild mode should be called standard, and then what they're calling standard mode should be called something else. That's stupid. Because wild mode should be standard. Being able to use every card should be the standard. And then a variation of that should be called something else, I think.
Yeah.
And that's where they're gone wrong, I think. And the fact that they're making it so you can't get some of the cards normally anymore. That's fucking stupid. Oh, the one really good thing about this whole thing is they're doubling your deck slots, finally, which should have happened forever ago. So you can make twice as many decks. Which I presume is so that you can have a set of 9 wild and set of 9 standard, I presume.
Yeah. Because that was the biggest gripe I had, is that if you wanted to make a random gimmick deck that you knew wasn't going to do very well, but you thought would be funny, it took up one of your slots. And
exactly,
you
like you can't have all of the
else to do it.
Exactly, I can't have all of my brilliant gimmick decks that make you rage lots.
Yes, your decks are the most infuriating, but there we go.
Why do you not like my Murlocs? You're just racist.
I like your Murlocs. I don't like the fact that once I've dealt with your goddamn Murlocs, you're straight away dropping Dr. Booms. No, not even that. It's
my
legendary
best deck ever invented.
The most evil, because you tie up all my resources in trying to get rid of these Murlocs so they don't rush me, and by the time I've dealt with them, I've then got loads of
fucking Kel'Thuzad and Ragnaros and all this. It's brilliant.
Big scary legendaries punching my face in. It is a brilliant deck, but it's annoying when you're against it.
Oh dear. Yeah, I don't think there's much more we can say about it. I'd hope that because it's not going to happen for a couple of weeks, a couple of months even. I don't think it's that's not soon, I don't think. But I would hope that they'd listen and sort of make it so you can still get those old cards. I think in their own way they're trying to do it so that there's less cards in a certain mode, so that newcomers would have less cards to worry about. But they've just gone about it the wrong way, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's what they wanted, is so that there's a mode for new players, so that they can, they don't have to be dealing with shit tons of cards from all these different expansions, sort of thing. They only have to concentrate on a few.
I don't know whether Blizzard have just all had brain aneurysms or